I spoke to John McDonnell in 2018 and he assured me we've narrowly defined the renationalisation agenda and we won't go beyond it. I've got nothing up my sleeve, he said. He sat on my TV set and said, that's it, we're not going any further. And then we hear about Openreach last week. And I spoke to the CBI this morning. They say businesses are nervous about where your plans for renationalisation end.
Well, I've set out this morning what our economic objectives are and the kind of society we want to create. And the public ownership, I think we've made very clear that the rail network and rail operating, the network is already publicly owned, the rail operating should be in public hands. Royal Mail is an absolute natural monopoly, therefore should be, in my view, in public hands and linked back to the post office, which will of course develop the post bank. So we turn Royal Mail and the post office into one, which becomes a local economic generator. And I think that's absolutely the right thing to do. The water companies have made enormous profits, sold off a lot of assets, been condemned by the Financial Times business city editor for their works. I think they ought to be in public ownership and also be much more effective working with the Environment Agency on river basin management and river management as well as water supply.
So we know a lot about the businesses you already intend to bring back into national ownership. Can you say that there will be no others, or could there be more during the course of if you were Prime Minister, there could be others?
Look, we see the role of government as being in partnership with the private sector in many areas, but I'm not proposing massive nationalisation. What I'm more interested in is a growing economy with a more skilled workforce and an infrastructure, both transport as well as broadband infrastructure, which is effective across the whole country. So I'm very proud of our broadband announcement, which I think will be a real game changer for people in many remote communities.
Can you see why international investors might be nervous, though, to put money into the UK if they feel that the government of the Times, if you are successful on December the 12th, might want to nationalise at will other parts of the economy?
Well, they're reluctant to put money in at the moment because they see the infrastructure is so limited, and in some parts of the country it's very, very hard to get anyone to invest because the transport infrastructure is inadequate, there is lack of local skilled workforce, and there's a very poor internet connection. So unless we fix those things, the inequalities between London and the southeast compared to the northwest in Cumbria, for example, or parts of the northeast are going to get worse, not better.
Can I ask you about the latest polling and your party in some of the weekend polling, double-digit percentage points behind the Conservatives? What do you do to close that gap?
Campaign, get our message across, our manifesto launch on Thursday, and point out that what we're offering this country is to negotiate a trade deal with the European Union, which gives a credible leave option alongside Remain, and put that to a referendum. We've got to bring people together, whoever they voted in the referendum. But above all, it's about empowering young people for the future with better training, with apprenticeships, and an equal status between apprenticeships and academic education, equal status between vocational and academic. So I think we've got a great offer there. And the Green Industrial Revolution issues that we've worked out after a lot of discussion, a lot of development, I think are really exciting. So we were the first country in the world to declare a climate emergency following a motion that I put to Parliament on May the 1st. And I want us to host the climate change conference next year and help to do everything we can to deal with the greatest threat this planet has ever faced.
A lot could be riding then, if you're trying to close that polling gap, a lot could be riding on the TV debates that you're going to hold. How are you preparing?
Looking forward to them, thinking about the message I want to get across and thinking about the type of government we want to be, one that empowers people rather than dictates to people, one that helps people to achieve their ambitions and their aspirations, but also recognise the effects of austerity of the past 10 years have been to create a terrible burden of personal debt for those in middle age, funding kids through uni, or having to fund the social care of older people. And so a properly functioning public sector that provides the health care, the social care, and the education that is so essential to all of our lives. That's the areas that we'll be campaigning very, very strongly on, and I'm travelling all around the whole country the whole time, and I'm enjoying it.
And you've talked about the level of investment you want to do, and you've said you've got spending plans and an investment plan, the scale of which we've never seen. What are the limits on how much you think you can borrow to achieve that?
Well,
what's your assessment of what would make debt markets nervous?
Well, we've been pretty clear about what the total is, and it comes up to the 250 billion social transformation, green industrial revolution investments, and you're looking at sort of 650 billion altogether for all this. Well, I think that's clear. I think it's clear what the bond issues will be to achieve that. It's clear what the investment objectives are, but it's also clear that it will be locally determined in many places. So it won't be central government in Whitehall dictating what the road configuration is going to be in Lancashire. It will be a local determination.
If you are successful in becoming Prime Minister, one of the things you'll have to decide on quickly is whether to ask Mark Carney at the Bank of England to stay on or whether to replace him. Is that something you can say what you'll do now?